Welcome to Divergent Motivation. Today we are going to speak about liens, and we have Scott and Darren with us once again, and it's going to be a lovely ride as the last one, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah, it was good. Good. Really enjoyed the last one. We got through quite a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah, I hope today we are going to do an awesome job as well. So, I don't know if you guys, any of you wants to start first, or who's going to go first? So the topic is about the liens, yeah? So we're going to start like, what is a lien? I think it's very important for the people that are at home, and like going through the beginning, like for the people that doesn't know what a lien is, and for the ones that already know, so they can have a bit more of an understanding of what is what.
So I mean, where I started was the affidavit, and the way I got explained it was that you found this document, and you're basically sending it to the MPs to see if they can rebut it. And obviously, we know that they can't rebut it. So then the lien, you're formally asking them for any material evidence of their claim, which is that there is a government. And that's where you start with the paperwork. That's what we're trying to achieve here is, there's a claim of a government. So is there any material evidence of this claim, basically?
Yeah. So I will go to Scott then and ask Scott to give us a brief description. What is a lien? What is actually a lien? Why do we use this as our remedy, and why it's so important as well?
I'm going to simplify it, Carla. It's an agreement. Yeah, basically, it's a formal agreement in this case, to a future debt. So that it's remedy to fraud, where there is no justice or remedy, that there is a lien, and it's redress to crimes, basically, to what's going on. So I think it's important, Carla, to understand why David got to here. Why did he get to a lien?
Yeah, let's go. Let's dive in.
So he created that affidavit, yeah. So that's you have to kind of look at it as it happened to him. He created the affidavit off the back of a parking ticket, yeah, which is Exhibit B. That set in motion the creation of the affidavit. So now he's got agreements with all of the MPs, but they're still ploughing ahead with whatever they're doing and still creating fraud. So he needed redress, and the lien is the perfect redress. It's an agreement to a future debt. Now that word agreement, right? It's really important, because when something's in agreement, there's no disagreement. So there's no pushback whatsoever to what's happening, because it's an agreement, and that's all really a lien is. And because it's on paper, it's a formal agreement. And again, that formal is the legal part. If it's not formal, it's not worth piss. So you've got to formalise it with the lien. And it is amazing, really. A few years ago, there was a website called Get Out of Debt Free, run by, I can't remember who run it, John somebody, and he created this 3-letter process, and the lien is basically that, but on steroids. It's creating a legal agreement formally on the paper, but on the back of the affidavit. So remember, with that affidavit, we created those legal agreements with the MPs. Those MPs run head office and believe they have the consent of the governed, and create acts and statutes on the back of it to governors. But of course, that's now been proven that consent never existed. But yet, they're still using acts and statutes. So we can't take to the streets with sticks and stones because they've got bigger guns than we've got. So we have legal redress on the paper, always legal redress.
And there was a question on one of the groups today about evidence of their needing to be consent. And obviously, you know, you can't go around making claims to people, and you can't just, you know, I want to do this, so everybody else has to follow. But you can ask any of these people in these offices, you know, do they require consent? And they will openly tell you, yes, they do. You know, because they tell us everything that we need to know if we ask it. So you can get them to tell you that you know, consent is required.
But that will only happen, Darren, if you write to them, if you question them.
Yeah.
The right questions.
That for me, it's a good starting point, because I like to ask questions, and because they gave everything to us for free. You know, when you start asking, they are the ones that are entrapping themselves, because basically they say everything that we need to know to start working with those evidence, really.
Yeah. So yeah, when I was learning the process, I writ to a few of them and just asked them. And the local MP is Jacob Rees-Mogg, and I got a piece of paper back saying that it requires consent from the governed. You know, and he signed that in wet ink. So, you know, that's a legal letter. And then he goes on to say that it's expressed in the voting system. Well, you know, we know that's a load of crap. And, you know, great if someone did express it. You know, there's still no formal agreement. But what about if half the population doesn't express that?
Yeah,
you know, you can't just plow on. Oh yeah, well, everyone's got to do it now.
Well, that's where the affidavit removes all that doubt.
Yeah,
because the affidavit, the government have already admitted that yes, we don't have the consent of the governed. Yeah, they've agreed to that fact, and that's where the lien comes in. Because now you've got so the affidavit, all the affidavit does, it establishes the facts. That's all.
And from now on, it's our starting point.
Correct. Once those facts are established, Carla, now those looking for redress have it. Yeah, seek and ye shall find.
Exactly. We have Andy in the house. We have Mark Uliet as well. Guys, welcome, and glad to have you here live with us on the other side. So if you want to ask any questions to Scott or Darren, just feel free to pop them in, and I will show them and ask Darren and Scott to go and pay a little bit of attention because I'm the working one here. I have to put everything on there, so you guys pay attention. Okay, so move on. I'm gonna again do the other side. So let's say that people that are starting now with the affidavit, and they hear us talk about the liens and all of that, but they don't grasp quite yet what a lien is. What is that you guys would say to those people starting now? What is like the main principal things that they need to focus before they go into a lien?
Well, what I tell people is you've got a government that you're paying at least 85% of everything you earn to it, and you've got no paperwork whatsoever from them. So this is a start of an actual contract between them, or this is a contract between them. Their claim is that they're a government, and you're formally asking them to provide some evidence that there is what they say there is. And that's what the lien goes through, the 6-week process. That's what it goes through, of you asking, you're asking them 3 times for the material evidence. And of course they can never give any because it's all made up. If there were legal agreements in place, it'd be very, very simple. Just, go on to this website or go here and you'll find it.
Exactly. Like normally they do in their fear letters when they say, oh, you have to pay council tax because it's the 1992 Act, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, they could do the same thing, really.
That's it. They could do it easy. If you look into these acts and statutes on their website, that's all we're looking at is a website. Nobody's seen an original copy. Nobody's able to question the man or the woman that made these things up. And in fact, what I've found is that the only actual statutes you can find where they tell you who writ it, they're all dead. So until these people die, they won't give their names. So it's very easy for, we just go on a website and you've got thousands or probably millions of pages of acts and statutes. So it'd be very easy for them to put the legal agreements or the material evidence as to why there's a government and why they claim to govern us.
Yeah, we have a question for Scott. Scott, Mark Juliet is asking, would I need to have material evidence to lien the Great Manchester Police Chief, or can it be done like we do the MPs? Thanks.
No, it's slightly different. You would need material evidence. Yeah, you would. So the MPs are in the head office, executive office, yeah. And although the police are also in that executive office, they're a sub-office of government. So the police don't claim to be a government, yeah. The claim of government is down to the MPs. They claim to govern by consent. Yeah, they don't realise that's what they're claiming. But by claiming to be a government, and a government needs consent, without that material evidence of consent, then there is no government. So yes, in terms of anything else. So basically, anyone other than an MP has decided to ignore what we're saying and carry on using acts and statutes vicariously against us. And in that instance, you need the material evidence.
I love that word.
But look,
say it again.
Vicariously.
Vicariously.
Yes.
Well, I really feel like the sound of it.
Take the police, for instance. So everybody comes to these pages and these sites, and not just our site, lots of other pages. They always come when they are in a rush. They've got a bill, they've got a fine. So the members, the men and women out there should be writing to their chief constable and asking, why is this happening in my fucking neighbourhood? Why is this happening? And then you strike up, you can write to them and fucking try and hold them to account, just as a concerned fucking member, yeah. And they will, I guarantee you, they will make claims. So at that point, you can now start, because they're in an office. They're paid for by the public.
That's it. You could say, I know such and such just got a fine for this, a fine for that. Why is this? And they'll come back with acts and statutes. And then, for instance,
if every single man and woman in the country wrote to their council and asked, where is my obligation to pay council tax? The response would be slightly different, but pretty much the same. You have to pay it under the 1992 fucking blah 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 Act, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be the bulk of the response. So at that point, they've made a fucking claim. Yeah, they've made a claim because David Ward already has an agreement in place with the MPs who create the acts and statutes in the first place. And David Ward has agreed that they all have agreed that they need consent to create those acts and statutes. But now we've got another company, council, using those acts and statutes, regardless. So now we need material evidence of them. But again, there you go. Material evidence is easy because they make claims. They work in a framework. Yeah, the companies.
Exactly.
They have a framework which is animated by legislation, policy. Yeah, any company. Companies can't function without policy. People don't get paid without policies being in place. But they've all been swallowed up, and they're swallowing us up.
Yeah, I think the main thing is because we don't question things. You know, we go through life and we just accept that even what we are speaking here in this channel, we are not saying that, oh, yeah, you have to believe it. No, go check it for yourself, go read it, you know, because that's the most important thing that you need to do. It's empower yourself and get educated, you know, because ultimately what we are showing is what we have learned, and we know 100% that it works because we took action on it. We weren't just listening to Baron David Wood and oh yeah, you know, like in my case, I only did my first lien after almost a year, you know, because I wasn't sure. I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't know what a lien is. I didn't know that all that terminology, like that word vicariously. I didn't know what that was, you know. So it takes time. So like you said, Scott, if you are in a rush because you had this or that situation, it is not going to work, you know, because you need to take this as a responsibility. That is something that you are going to educate yourself on, and it's not just to get rid of this or that situation, but it's going to be for life, isn't it?
Yeah, well, these so-called events that happen, Carla, COVID, all these events, right? These are the times when people really need to question. You're not necessarily questioning specific things, but you need to question. It's your job to question. When fraud is just left, it proliferates throughout every aspect of society. Yeah, every aspect. So people become their jobs.
Yeah, and they're not going to question it, are they? Because you know it's paying their bills.
Paying the bills.
You know, they got the invested interests in it.
Yeah, we have Mark saying, great, I got pulled for no MOT other week, so should get some material evidence when I get the paperwork. Yeah.
I thought they'd, when I got pulled for no MOT, they give me a ticket on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, Mark, what I would say is, so you've already been pulled, so maybe email them. Because if you've got the numbers, the collar numbers, you can email these coppers individually, and you can fucking let them know you've got the number.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've got no right to pull you over, and be preemptive rather than waiting for the paperwork. Yeah, they've already pulled you over, so they've already struck first.
It's question everything, you know, like where's your authority to pull me over? You know, where's your authority to tell me I need an MOT? Who's got the authority to tell me that I have to have an MOT?
At this point, you can see the difference. It's a mindset change. You're no longer defending a position. There's no position to defend. You make them defend their actions. Well, do you have the authority? You need to question this. I know you don't, but you need to question it. Just pulling people over in the street, making them do this, making them do that, then giving them a ticket for this much or that much.
That's it, and wasting their fucking time as well.
Yeah,
you know, it's just questioning it all the time.
No, yeah, right, we have to
electronically.
Yeah.
It's this pushback on authority, this belief, and that's what it is, a belief. It's a religion, this belief in authority, that everybody has to put some part of them into something else, because I don't know what it is. Is it a lack of confidence? Possibly. We've all been fucking indoctrinated. Nobody's had the best upbringing. Everybody's gone through some sort of trauma through their life. But
I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I think it's because we don't ask questions. Because every time, and I speak for myself, every time I was in school, I was always either facing the wall or they kicked me out, because I was always very inquisitive, like why, and that would bother the people, the teachers at the time. But I see that most of the times people, they just accept things, and they don't question why is that, why everything is like this. And I speak against myself, because I was one of those as well. I didn't question when I didn't know this, and I was not doing the right questions, because again, lack of knowledge. But once you start having and gaining this, and that is the truth, because it resonates inside of you in a way that none of us can explain, because each one of us has to feel it. Everything changes. The world around me changed. I don't look at people as I used to, again, with putting them in some sort of authority figure. And now all I see is men and women, and some of them are acting in a role, and I have to start acting accordingly to the role that I am facing. Right?
Well, that brings us neatly back to the lien.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, the lien, nobody's an idiot. Yeah, I read the liens before I wrote my own, and I'm reading the liens, and David's charging him £15 million, and and there's no money, So what is ultimately the lien? So for me, it's something far greater than any money can buy. It's formally documenting the facts. Yeah. So we stop complaining, and we put the facts, the agreed facts, on the record. Yeah. It doesn't make the lien any less valuable as an asset. Yeah. The fact that nobody's cashed one. Yeah, it's the clincher for everybody, isn't it? If we could cash one, Carla, they'd all cash. Then everybody would be on the fucking bandwagon. Yeah, that'd be.
You know what? I think that the people that say those things, they are utterly stupid. Yes, I'm going to say stupid, because being stupid is a person without ideas. And no action. So don't take it to the other side of the equation. And they never actually read the case. Yeah, the 6 weeks that it's done. So I really don't know why people cannot grasp their ideas, and I'm glad that we are doing this today, because we are going to start with one very simple lien. So if people that haven't read those liens yet, you can start with that one, which is for the MPs or presidents or prime ministers or whatever in each country, whatever monkey boy you have, and to at least to start getting people to just read it, just go through the pages and start seeing, because it's more than cashing whatever. It's the facts. It's the fraud there,
Yeah, that's what I love about it the most, Carla. Yeah, I've stopped chasing empires, money. It's all a notion, and it'll get you nowhere. Right, so we'll get that idea out of your head. But for the first time, right, that I can see, men and women have stopped complaining for once, and they put the facts down on the paper, yeah, and they put it on the public record for everybody to see.
Yeah.
And the action of following it through to the end and creating, yeah, because that's what we're doing here, we're creating agreements following on the public record, yeah. So that's what people really need to think about, because you've got to, you can't just come in half-ass. Yeah, you need to really understand what you're doing, why you're doing it. But yeah, it's an agreement, Carla. A lien is an agreement to a future debt. Simple.
And why? Yeah, go on, Darren. Go on.
It's also, just one lien is more paperwork and an agreement than anybody's ever had with the government. Do you know what I mean? You've gone through life thinking, I got to do this, I got to do that, and you do it. And then as soon as you formally ask them, well, why? They got absolutely nothing to back it up with, because there is nothing. A group of men and women at some point in time made this up, and for some reason we started going along with it. Our ancestors started going along with this. That's ultimately what happened.
Yeah, true. So I don't know if you guys want to go and explain why did Baron David Ward create the lien through all the things that he was that he I think he went through a lot of in 12 years, if I'm not wrong, yeah, that he did research and he saw other methods that people were doing, like going after the trusts, and there was people changing their status. There was the birth certificate, yada yada yada, and so I don't know if you guys want to go a little bit into that. Why? Well, into that, why we don't use it, why we only follow the security by way of the lien.
Because all that's bullshit, isn't it? The sooner people realise that anything that they fucking created to use is a load of bollocks. Liens exist with or without government. Yeah, you don't need a fucking government to create a lien, which is why they don't like them. It's a court of record, Carla, where there is no court. Yeah, so remember last week we talked about that judiciary, which is that third office. Yeah, the third branch down.
Yeah, and we saw it as well. Yeah. I hope people got really into that graphic, because we will continue. Repetition is key to show you that you need to really grasp that graphic. Don't just slide through it, just lose like 2 or 3 days into that, and so you can further understand why everything works the way it works.
So yeah, look, yeah, Darren, yeah, I'm just reading a comment from me. I love that, Darren. It's all made up. It is all made up, and that's the point.
But,
so either,
but when you really get your head around that, and how much this is made up, when you get a letter through the door, it's laughable, because every step of that letter you think, who the fuck made that up? Do you know what I mean? Were they sat in the chair pissing themselves thinking, fucking hell, I get millions of people falling for this shit?
Yeah.
It must have been, because they knew what they were doing, or they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, look, they're your legislators, and they are there to milk the fucking public through taxation. Yeah, the government wants to create X amount of pounds on a screen. Yeah, so they create a bond. The put it on deposit at the bank, create this money, and agree to pay it back with interest. And how do they get the interest? By taxing us. Yeah, either in your face or by stealth. So the lien is really the only redress outside of a defunct justice system. Yeah, we all the beauty of these liens is right. We actually charge them ultimately with confidence, faith, and belief. Yeah, we charge them with misrepresentation in the office. We charge them malfeasance, and we charge them with belligerent acts of terrorism. Yeah, well, the monetary value that comes with that is, of course, confidence, faith, and belief, and that's the absolute beauty of it. Yeah, we're putting the facts on record. Where else has that ever happened?
Well, never, because they'll have a complaints department, and obviously it's all set up to steer you on the path to nowhere.
Yeah,
Because
filter.
You're following their creation, and why would their creation ever lead to you having any success? Because at the end of the day, they want to get your cash, your energy from you. So that's the only way it's going to end up. No matter what process you follow theirs, it's going to end up with you ultimately owing something.
Well, that's why, Darren, I always go back to that very important point. If you're here to get out of paying tax, you're in the wrong place. There is no getting out of paying tax. It's built into the fucking system, you idiot.
It's realizing that you never had to pay it in the first place.
Correct, mate.
You know what I mean? And how powerful that is. You think, fucking hell, I've been paying this all my life. It's been stolen from me, and there's not a single piece of paper. There's not a single agreement that says I have to pay it.
So you've just hit nail on head, Darren. So once you realise there's no money, but yet you're on this hamster wheel and you can't get off it because of money, well, what are they taking from you? Your time and energy. That's it. So go and fucking create some wealth somewhere else. Because that's really all it boils down to. There is no money as such. There's an exchange, of course, but an exchange can be anything.
I think that is one of the questions I wanted to touch as well, because I've seen it from many people, because they get confused because they read that there is no money, and then they see that the liens has the charge of 15 million. Yeah. So if you guys can touch a little bit of that and simplify it so people can untangle their minds.
Well, you just touched upon actually quite something important. So you said charge. That word charge, you use charge, and it's the right word to use, Carla, but it's an important word, charge, because you can't just create a charge out of thin air.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot create a charge out of thin air. There has to be an agreement at some point, yeah. So all these people claiming I'm going to take out my meter, I'm going to store it at my house, and I'm going to charge them this and charge them that. I'm sorry, but you're making a claim that you can't substantiate.
Yeah.
You can't create a charge out of thin air, just like they can't create a charge out of thin air. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do, making claims. They're trying to create a charge out of thin air, and you can't do that. We can't do it to them either, Carla. So how does David get that charge? Yeah, how can we charge them? Well, we can charge them by their own words, because that claim that they make on paper is the very beginning, it's the foundation of a contract that they are trying to create with us. And we're going to use those words, those claims, because if you make a claim and you can't substantiate it, well, those claims now become fraudulent in nature. And that is a chargeable criminal offence. So there's your charge. We've created the charge.
Yep.
That simple. He who makes the claim bears the obligation to provide the material evidence to prove that claim. And when you can't prove that claim, the claim becomes fraudulent in nature, and there's your charge. So that's how we're able to charge them, with its misrepresentation in the office.
And there is a material evidence to that extent.
Of course, the material evidence is the agreement with the MPs. Because we have an agreement with the MPs that MPs actually don't have the authority to actually call themselves an MP without the consent of the governed. Once they have that consent, then they can become an MP and form a government. But until that consent, that formal agreement, that formal transfer of power of authority from the people to the government, until that happens, then a government cannot be formed. It's that simple. That's why there's never been a government legally in 800 years.
Yeah.
And also, to have any form of legal consent, you require full disclosure. So you would need to see and read all 8 million plus acts and statutes and agree to every single one of them and how they would implement them. So, it's mostly by force. And that's why they could never, ever get consent of the governed.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I don't know if anyone in the chat has any question. Just pop them in, please. So far, so good. Let us know, and we are moving forward. So, okay, so for someone that is starting, and they should their first lien should be made to who then?
He who makes the claim. So ultimately,
wait. And where do you see those claims?
So it's on paper.
Yeah, every day. No, I mean they make that claim every single fucking day on the telly.
Yeah. Or
if you are asking where do I have the claim? Well, if you are watching TV, you will see Prime Minister.
So yeah, you could use you could take some footage from the TV of them making claims and just write to them. You said this. Can you back this up? With the material evidence.
We only use one. I mean, ultimately, the very presentation, right, of an email address.
Yeah.
Yeah, an MP email address. That's the claim of an MP.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that alone. So there's a claim. But ultimately, you only need one claim with the MPs, and that's why when David created that, I don't want to use the word template because I hate that word, but it certainly simplified the process of serving the MPs, because ultimately it's one claim, Carla.
Yeah.
They claim to govern by consent. Yeah.
Everybody's got the same question, so the letter's the same, the structure of the letter is all the same because it's all the same question.
Mm-hmm. So, Scott, I don't know if you wanna. You have the screen, so we can add it, and we can start seeing how is the structure of a lien to the MPs, and we can go a little bit more into deep, so people can start grasping what is what and why it's done this way, and all of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good to go.
Okay, so let's go. Okay, so what we have here is your ceiling crest, yeah, which is the house of Herbert White, right? I don't know if you want to touch a little bit on this and why is this important to have your crest and your seal?
Well, it represents your estate, so your square on the monopoly board, if you like. So up to that point, you've been assigned something, and you're not really you didn't even know you were assigned it. But by creating this house, this estate, and taking control of the legal embodiment, it takes it out of their. They can't fucking use it, basically.
Yeah.
It takes it out of their hands.
Like Florbella normally say, I'm not homeless anymore. I have a house.
That's it. Yeah.
And one of the things that I want to touch as well, most people also, I know this is the tiny bits, but I want to go to the tiny bits because I want people to just stop stop making those questions to us, because for us, we already know what they are, but because this video is going to stay on YouTube, so we can recommend people to come and watch this instead of making the same questions over and over and over again. So why is the brackets, let's go on the address. Why is the brackets here? That's another question that most of the time people ask. Why is this in brackets?
Well, again, look, there's nothing written down about the four corner rule as such. There's plenty written about it, but nothing official written down. But we know it to be fact because they use it. So I always put square brackets around the postcode. Not that it makes any frigging difference. Ultimately,
we never agree to any of it, right?
Exactly. It's only ever in their world. This only has any effect legally. That's it. And that's it. And it's important to understand that because it gets the bullshit out of it. These are legal documents. It's important that you understand that these are legal documents. This is not free man on the land nonsense or common law nonsense. These are legal documents.
Okay, so if we scroll down. So, okay, we have our strawman with a house. Now he's not homeless anymore. Then we have security by way of lien. Okay, so people that are reading, they might not notice that there is a very smart way of writing this: security by way of a lien, and why the by is with a capitalized letter. So don't know if you want to touch a little bit on that as well.
Well, yeah, we'll be going through that as well, Carl, through this document, because people talk about this legalese thing again. This legalese isn't really a thing. It's grammar, is what it is. And again, David, he taught me about Boolean grammar. I'd heard of it before, but I thought it was something to do with maths, a mathematical thing, and it is. But it's a logic. It's how things work. It's how machines operate and work, and computers, and that's what they use. They use Boolean logic. Otherwise, they can't operate. If you press a key and nothing happens, then there's something gone wrong.
Yeah.
And so it's that exactness of the language. So basically, it's the adjoining words. You know that then by. It actually creates a dependency in language because it's by something. Well, what's the something that it's by? We need to know that before we can solve the equation. So it's by consent of the government. So it's by something. It's by. So it's by way of a lien. So we're creating a security by way of a lien. Right, okay, that makes grammatical sense.
Yeah.
Which takes us back to that statute, the word statute, and its definition. Also have that word by in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're governed by consent.
By consent, yeah.
By consent
But
of the.
no one ever. I until I saw Baron David Wood speak about that, and I think I've already posted that in the Telegram group, and I love to read that because I never noticed, and he was so right. Sometimes you read stuff and you don't notice this words, and they are so freaking important, right?
Absolutely.
And when he touched that, and he said, I remember there was something under the lines like, you see, you didn't notice that there was a dependency throughout this text, but now that I'm going to call you off on it, you will start seeing it. And wow, yes, now I cannot unsee it. Every time I read something, I just don't read. I go like security by. Oh, wait a minute. We have a by here. Okay, there is a dependency. Let's go and see what is the rest that is coming, you know? So it's quite amazing how he passed this to us, and he left us everything written. So we just have to keep on studying it.
Yeah, it's that exactness of words, rather than legalese as such, an exactness of words, and those words they're used every single day in every single computer, laptop, phone. Otherwise they don't work. It's how a program operates with exact wording. Yeah, if you don't put it exact, the program doesn't work.
Exactly.
It's exactly the same with words. So to create that dependency, you're creating contracts with each other words.
Yeah. Okay, so we go through it. I think you need to zoom it a little bit more so people that are watching at home can see it. So we have, yeah, that's good. Perfect.
It's a 6-week process, right? So at the end of the 6-week process, you end up with what's called the lien. Yeah, and that's what we're looking at right now. Yeah, so every lien needs a front cover, which is what this is.
And it's if anyone has any questions, why do we say that the lien number is HOH? Why is this written like this? Can people change it? Does it have a meaning behind it?
Well, the HOH is their House of Herbert. It's just shortened down, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then obviously this will be the first lien. So for instance, I got 4 liens on the council CEO, so it'll be 001, 002, and so on.
Yeah.
Because every letter is a new case basically. So you can end up getting multiple liens on these people.
So that's basically what that is. It's basically a case reference number that someone at the House of Herbert created in order to be able to find it filing. But that's the case number that we created that, the House of Herbert. So in Darren's case, it would read, if your surnames don't end in A, begin with H, then it'd be different, obviously. But it doesn't have to look like that. It can be anything you decide. It's your creation. But that's what it is, Darren. It's a case reference number, mate, that we create.
Yeah.
And it's for your court of record. Okay, and then we have this is the front cover. So when people start reading this, they are reading it from the end to the beginning.
Sort of, yes. They're reading the last document first, absolutely. So the first 5 documents are the lien, and the 6th document, which is what you read first, is an overview of what's just happened the last 5 weeks. but it's also the decree, the oath. You know, it's where we give power of attorney.
Yeah.
So again, we'll go through it, but I find it interesting that a lien is bookended with two affidavits.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the document, there's the original affidavit that he created, but also at the beginning of the document, there's the brand new affidavit that we've created. So it's bookended by two agreed facts, which I love.
Truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of truth.
Yeah. And there is no way any of it can escape those two affidavits.
There's no way out but truth.
There isn't, because basically, look, we start the lien process by sending out the affidavit along with letter one. Yeah, so the first week's letter.
Yeah. So if you want to, while you are talking, if you want to move to that page so people can follow along.
So we'll skip number 6 for now.
Yeah.
So to start reading a lien, you go to Exhibit A first, and that's basically the start. This will be the first week.
So it's so important when people start reading to pay attention to the dates as well. Keep in mind the dates, because they will tell you the chronology of the matter at hand.
Yeah, absolutely. So week one, look, basically, to make this simplistic, the first 3 documents of a lien are there to create a tacit agreement, basically. So it's like not once, not twice, not 3 times, still no answer. So now there is an agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't make a fraudster admit they're a fraudster.
True.
And we have an agreement because there's no disagreement.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That simple.
And one of the things that I noticed as well is with full transparency. So there is no obfuscation in our communication. In a 3-letter process, it's simple, it's straight to the point, and no obfuscation. Like they normally send letters to us, and it's full of obfuscation, right? And here, when you start reading this, even if you think, oh, I can't read or something like that, just don't mind that, because once you engage in reading this, like, okay, something happened and I'm going to be made aware of the facts of the matter. So you're going to start reading and you're going to start looking that, oh my God, they ask for the material evidence once, 2, 3 times and no reply, right? So here is something that people should be I think
and it's all broken down, and it's got full disclosure as to what you're doing, why you're doing it, where the material evidence is for why you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's how we ever come up with this is beyond me, because it's amazing how he wrote all this.
Yeah. Scott, can you read us a little bit of where we ask for the I don't know if there is any part in particular that you like the most. I don't know. I like them all, but let's just choose one so people can the new ones.
So basically, we'll run through it a bit quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing here, well, bearing in mind, we've already got an agreement with these MPs. There's an agreement already in place in the form of an unrebutted affidavit. Okay, that's important. So now we can go after them for their claim, because we've sent them an affidavit which they haven't rebutted. but yet they continue to be an MP. So they define the evidence. So now it's your time to lien them. They're making a claim that they are an MP, a government, and so this first part basically, and a lien it's a contract, another contract, a formal contract. So we're setting them up. We're bringing attention to the attached affidavit, which was served on the MP. So we're letting them know that the MPs have already been served on this date by way of a published and public affidavit. We note that the MP who were putting this lien against was one of those MPs.
Yeah.
We would note that the MP, we'll let him know what the legal function of an affidavit is. We're drawing his attention to particular exhibits in the affidavit. So Exhibit C in particular, because these are speeches by their own people.
Staff.
Absolutely. And we're basically letting them know that we know.
Yeah, exactly.
We have an agreement in place, Mr. John Trickett. Yeah. We're letting him know about Exhibit B. About Lord Chief Justice Jack Beatson. Yeah. We're letting him know. We're setting out the terms and conditions here, is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We would further draw to the attention of Mr. John Trickett all of these published securitized liens that David Ward has against judges, MPs, lawyers, warrants of arrest, bailiffs. So these are the Baron's own liens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's letting them know that we've already had success. So now we're letting Mr. John Trickett know that we would note that to Mr. John Trickett that the words obligation and liability do not and cannot exist outside of a formal and legal agreed contract. And this is a fact that's been formally agreed.
I love that one.
Yeah.
So we will further note, Mr. John Trickett, that there can be no legal representation unless there has been a formal and legal transfer of power of attorney.
Yeah. Oh, Scott, we have Mena saying in a chat that the image is not clear. So maybe try to zoom it a little bit more. Like to fill out. Yeah. Oh, yeah, much better. Yeah. You guys can see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, just let us know. So we have João asking, and if they respond,
well, they'd have to respond with material evidence, and there's no material evidence to something that's made up, because government is an idea that somebody had, and it's an idea that we now believe in, or we did, and that we have been going along with. So there can never, ever be any material evidence unless there were formal agreements. And that would have to be everybody. So if you had a baby and there were formal agreements in place, well, there could be no formal agreement with that child until it was old enough to understand what it was doing. And that's how complicated it would get.
Well, that Darren, people always say, don't they? Oh, well, you give consent through the birth certificate. Well, your mum signed that birth certificate, and your dad possibly, but I certainly didn't. And your mum can't give your power of attorney away.
No.
So that never happened. Yeah, that's bollocks. So that was fraud from the outset. If that happened.
And the birth certificate was also created by a company that didn't have authority to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all fraud from the very offset.
And as far as I'm aware, there's never been a claim of ownership from the government over that birth certificate. Yeah, that's so people can forget about that. There is no claim of ownership.
Yeah. And there would have to be evidence as to whoever signed that birth certificate had full disclosure.
Exactly, mate. So that's why we stick to facts. Yeah, the fact is they are making a claim of government, and as we've already agreed in the affidavit, government can't come into fruition without the consent of the governed, formally agreed. Yeah, so think about it. If there is no governed, then by default, there is no government.
Yeah.
And that is already agreed, guys. That's what's been agreed in that affidavit. So it's the foundation to the lien. Again, yeah, we serve that affidavit first. Here are the agreed facts. So now we're not just sending out a document now that's not. We're sending out a document that's already been agreed.
Yeah. The election is probably a good one to touch on as well, isn't it? Because that's how they claim they have consent. But firstly, no one's got any authority to have an election.
Well, it's all under acts and statutes, Darren, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, when I was first learning, that's one of the things I asked Jacob Rees-Mogg. But where's any evidence that you got voted in? Where's the ballot papers? You know, he can't answer it. You know, it's all bollocks in the offset, isn't it? You're using a pencil, nothing's signed. There's no legal agreement. There's no disclosure. You know, whoever is counting these things, well, how come they're not interested in who got in? You know, you've got 20 plus million people that work, you know, and take their pay from the government. Well, they got invested interests. So whatever way you look at it, you can find fault in it everywhere.
That's it, mate. Look, anything created in fraud can only ever end in fraud.
Yeah, it's fraud. Yeah.
Fraud begets fraud, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? So
got the only signature on any birth certificate is that of the registrar. I can't remember looking at a birth certificate. So do they sign it?
Again, I'd have to go and look at a birth certificate.
Even so, they'd be licensed, wouldn't they? In which case, their license is null and void because no one's got authority to give them a license.
Yeah.
I mean, who are registered into? Whenever we're registered, it's always to a government department.
Yeah. And again, we didn't know nothing about nothing, so there is no way for us to. Oh yeah, okay. But again, it's a claim, and it's that one. I find it's very easy just to, prove your claim. Where is my signature then?
Yeah. But it's because like all this.
It wasn't me, so it's not my creation. So
it's like all this, you know, we registered our kids with the birth certificate. Well, we just thought that's what you did. We never stopped to think, why the fuck am I doing this? You know, we never looked at any of it.
Yeah.
That's it, mate.
Yeah,
there's no need to register anything because the registration of the legal name is enough. That's all you need. It's the fucking king of the hill. Everything else.
Yeah. Another thing that I would like to touch as well is that I've seen in the last year as well a lot of people asking, "Oh, do I need to notarize any of my documents?" What do you guys have to say about that one?
I would say that if you get it notarized, throw it in fucking dustbin. If there's no authority, who can notarize another's anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, who has the authority to notarize? Look, You might notice if you go and look at some of my liens, some of them are witnessed, not notarized, but witnessed. Fine, but you can't another can't notarize anything. You're either the highest authority or you're not. It's the reason no affidavit is allowed in a courtroom unless it's been notarized.
Yeah, why would that be, huh?
Yeah, so that's to take your power of attorney. Well, I don't want to have a lawyer. I don't want to have a lawyer. Well, you'll have to do it by affidavit then. Right, I'm going to do it by affidavit. Well, you need it notarizing. I'll get it notarized. As soon as you've notarized it, you're done.
It's done. Yeah. Yep.
Throw it in the dustbin.
Yep.
So yeah, look, witnessing. I've not got a problem with witnessing. You know, other barons witnessing each other's work and stuff like that. All good, but notarizing, waste of time. Again, notarizing it to take it to a court that's a third office down.
Yeah, and again, you are asking something that you know that has no authority to notarize your paper. I mean, no, I prefer to have a baron or a man or a woman and tell them, here, put your signature there, and that's that, instead of going to their creations. And I'm already contradicting myself, isn't it?
That's it. Only the man or woman knows their facts. Nobody else can know their facts, and nobody else can notarize it.
Exactly.
You know, you've got the first-hand knowledge of it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So let's go and move along. So
yeah, the first part of this document is basically us making claims on the basis that we've already got the agreements in place. Yeah. So it's a setup. Again, it's how to write a document. There's a start, a middle, and an end. So we've got the setup here where we're showing that we're directing them to the exhibits. We're under no obligation to. We've sent them the affidavit. It's up to them to read it, but we're pointing out certain things that we require of them. We've already done this. Look, we've done this several times. So we're letting him know that an obligation liability can't exist outside of a formal and agreed contract, right? Which is what this is going to become. Mm-hmm. We would further note that you can't have legal representation without giving away that power of attorney. Yeah. So we then go on. This is David wrote this, which I love, because we talk about the money, the tax that never comes back, the no economic return path, 300,000 homeless, blah. Yeah. So we put them in here because again, these are facts.
That's an important one. He who makes a claim carries the formal and legal obligation to present the foundation and evidence of that claim. Well, why have they got a formal obligation? It's because they made the claim.
Correct.
So as soon as they start making claims, they then have to prove it. Otherwise, we could all just go around saying, you know, you owe me this, you give, you know, you said that was mine, I'm taking it now. Well, hang on a minute. Well, you know, where's the evidence of that? You know, we're a government. All right, well, let's see some evidence of it.
Correct. So that's kind of where the document changes then, Darren, here, where that maxim begins. So the first part of it is letting them know that we've got material evidence and agreement in place. And now we're letting them know that it's a maxim.
Yeah.
And the maxim is a fact, and that he who carries the claim. And this is where we now ask that he who makes the claim carries the formal legal obligation. Yeah. It is therefore, again, that word, Boolean grammar.
Yeah.
It is therefore a note. So something comes after it. So what is the noted obligation? Well, we need the presentable material evidence to support the claim in one of two forms. The Mr. John Trickett carries the formal obligation to present the material evidence that the circa 67 million people have formally signed and legal transferred the legal power of attorney, where the circa 67 million people can be legally represented by a government. or Mr. John Trickett carries the formal obligation to present the material evidence that the circa 67 million people have formally signed and legal consent of the governed, which would be representative of a commercial agreement where there can be contractual legal obligations or liabilities made under the acts and statutes and legislation in accordance with the formally agreed and legally signed agreement to the facts and the legal and signed declaration of no contest to the legal effect, to that legal effect. So let's break that.
Yeah.
These are.
So they better start running and knocking on everybody's doors to get those material evidence, right?
Correct. So number one is plain and simple. You are claiming to be a government. Yeah. Show me the evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where is that? Where is the legal transfer of power of attorney of the 67 million men and women before you can even call yourselves a government? Yeah. You can't legally be represented by a government until those signatures every 5 years. Let's not forget that. Every 5 years, whenever a new government is formed. And then we're also looking for the formal, number two, the formal obligation to present the material evidence for a contract, right? So it's all right saying, well, we've got your legal transfer of power of attorney here, right? Okay, but where does it say now that you can create these obligations and liabilities? Because to do that, there needs to be a contract. So where is the contract?
Yeah, with full disclosure again.
Absolutely. So they're saying on number one, we are a government because we've got your power of attorney. Well, no, you haven't. Not without proof. Number two, not only are we a government, but we've got the legal authority to create acts and statutes, to create obligations and liabilities. Well, to do that, you need a contract. So where's that? Either way, they're screwed because they can't produce either.
Yeah. I remember that when I was doing one of my calls, I think it was with the council. Yeah, when I was dealing with the council, and I called them, and the lady that was on the phone, she said to me, and I said, well, where is it? Where is my obligation to pay council? And she said, oh, you live in England, don't you? So you have to abide by the laws of England. And I was just like, oh, really? And where can I read them then?
Yeah.
This causes a,
That's it. It is, who decided that, and why am I included in that when I've never been asked? It's that simple.
Yeah. And just because you are in this territory or anyone or anywhere else, like where is a government, they deem that it's like that. Every single one of them. And even the people that are working there, they are clueless as well, because they were indoctrinated that it's like this. You have to follow this script and do not think for yourself. You are not allowed to think for yourself. So you always have to do what we tell you that it is to do, but don't make questions as well. Yeah. So I see that every time we call them or we have an interaction and you make a question that it's outside of the script, they go like, oh.
Yeah, they ain't got a clue, but they're just trying to make it through the day, aren't they? In a job that they can't stand.
Yeah.
So that they're not really going to look too much into it because they're not interested in it.
Yeah, and because they are being screwed as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But this is why this document's important, Carla, because when people think, because a lot of people do think like that, well, I can't, what can I do? What is it that I can do? You can fucking put the facts on the page.
Yeah.
You can put the facts on the page. Hold them to account. Yeah, they might ignore it. In fact, you want them to ignore it. It's the perfect solution. Yeah, you can do it from your armchair.
Yeah.
They can do nothing other than ignore it. It doesn't make the facts any less agreed.
But that's it. I mean, I over the last few years, I had quite a few correspondence with Jacob Rees-Mogg, and he'd always reply until I sent him this.
Yeah.
How do you feel by being ignored, Darren?
I'm happy because then it's less paperwork then.
Yeah, I have that happiness as well. Yeah, I know the feeling. It's really good.
But they know it. The higher up ones, they know it's bollocks. You know, they do know, and they're just living in hope that not that many people know. And that's how they maintain it.
Yeah, and because there is that idea of, yeah, this is my basket of eggs. Let me keep having my eggs. I don't have to worry about anything. No one knows, so no one is going to make me read the facts over and over and over again. So I'm okay with that. That's why we say that is important, and it's a numbers game. Because if the 67 million were to wake up today and start sending just the first step of the lien, I think that we would see a big change in all of this construct. Don't you think, guys?
Definitely, yeah. Because they got more to lose than we have. You know, we're you know, most of us are happy just, you know, in our everyday lives. You know, we get, you know, with our families, and, you know, we're not interested in mansions and flashy cars and fame and all that bollocks. But they are, and they need this. They have to have this to maintain their lifestyle. Whereas our lifestyle would be far better if this just fell apart. You know, we're happy. You know, we don't need them to maintain our lifestyle, but
Yeah.
they fully 100% need us. They
Yeah.
have to have us. Without us, they don't have that lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to the best part, Scott. What
Right,
comes next?
So 1 and 2, yeah, we've set out the formal obligation that Mr. John Trickett carries. And here, this is that transparency.
Yeah, I love that one.
Failure to present this legally obligated evidence, in fact, will enter you, Mr. John Trickett, into a lasting and legally binding agreement to the following effect. And this is where we set out what the agreement is. 1, 2, and 3. So the misrepresentation,
yeah,
the malfeasance, and the intention to cause distress and alarm, which is a demonstrated willful, belligerent act of terrorism. And a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, that's a strong word, Scott. Terrorism. Go and have a look what terrorism means.
Yeah.
Go and have a look what it actually means. It can only be used to describe government."
And it's all their wording, you know, fraud by misrepresentation, that's their rule. Malfeasance, that's theirs. You know, it's just using their rules, you know, against them and pointing out what they are actually doing. They are breaking their own rules.
Yeah. And they were the ones that agree with all of that.
So I think it's important. Let me just highlight, Carla, because, again, I think it's important. Malfeasance in the office. People, I've heard a lot of people going after the man. It's the man committing the crime, ultimately, I agree. but they're doing it in an office behind a company with limited liability. That's how they're allowed to get away with it. And until you get it on paper, they're just
So
get...
the definition of terrorism, just for anybody interested who's watching, is the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims.
There you go.
So 100%, you don't pay your council tax. What do?
Yeah.
They threaten you. So how are they not terrorists?
And the fact that they do it over and over and over, that's a willful intention, right, to cause distress.
They've made people believe that a terrorist is a guy running around with a bomb on him.
Yeah.
So what? So I know. We're just going back. I'm just trying to tie it up, Carla. Just so we don't have to do it once. So we've shown them what their obligation is. This is the evidence that we require, 1 and 2. We've now noted that it's a formal and legal obligation that you've got. So that's the start of a contract, and this is what you're agreeing to. So malfeasance in the office. That's why it's Mr. John Trickett. It's the man in the office. That office is just another title. So Mr. John Trickett is a member of the public while ever he's at work. When he goes home at night, he's not Mr. John Trickett, he's just John to his, That's why there is no this public and private. Everything's private. Everything's private. You're only a member of public if you work for a company. So that's basically, Carla, that's the end of week 1, really. A beginning, a middle, and an end. So we're giving our evidence, of why you cannot call yourself a government. Here is our evidence. Here is the formal obligation, because you claim to be a government, therefore you have a formal and legal obligation. Yeah, you're a member. You're a public body. These are your claims. And if you can't produce that material evidence, this is what you're agreeing to: 1, 2, and 3. That's it. Number 1 done. It's that simple. Yeah, signed off.
And then we give them 7 days, right, from the first communication.
Correct.
Then we repeat the same again, but there is a slight change. That one. Yeah, there he is.
7 days minimum.
Yeah.
So some people get a bit flustered about trying to get these done on the 7th day. Well, 7 days minimum.
Yeah.
You don't want to leave it 6 months before you send the second letter. But if it was a couple of weeks, that's fine.
Do you know what, Darren? Even if it is 6 months apart, as long as the dates are recorded correctly,
well, yeah,
right, you can still plow on with it.
The more, if you give them 6 months, the more time you give them to bring the evidence. You are, because logistically you are thinking, oh my God, this is a hard task. So they need to go knock on the people's door and ask for the power of attorney and ask for the material. So 6 months is good.
It's even worse for them because you've had 6 months there. It's only a couple of documents you need to find. Yeah. You've got all the resources. You don't even have to do it yourself. You just ask one of your minions to do it for you.
Yeah. I mean, how hard can that be? Because if you can count the votes to put the minions in there, it shouldn't be hard for you to go and bring those evidence to us, right? If you have them.
It'd be a piece of piss.
That's ultimately what you're going to end up with, Carla, after this 6-week program. You're going to have an agreement in place that there is There is no representation, and there has never been representation of the people for the people. There never has been, and that's the fact of the matter. That's what this document is going to create. It's going to create an agreement between you and an MP, an individual who claims he's an MP or she's an MP, and the second week, Carla, and the third week, as you guys know, is just this bit that is highlighted is the only change in the whole document.
Just offering them more time. It's another 7 days and another 7 days.
I like the word candor. That was another word I had to go and find it out. And I'm like, oh, I don't like to be so polite. Do I have to? I remember having these talks with Scott, and I said, do I have to be so polite? And Scott telling me, yes, you are honorable, so stay in honor. And I'm like, okay.
That's it. So someone's got to be honourable, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's
not difficult. It's not difficult to be honourable with these people because they're so dishonourable.
Yeah.
So it's not difficult. So yeah, look, week 2, it's one paragraph that you add to the week 1 document, and you just reiterate it. So it's like a 3-week process, really, and then it's put on steroids with the other 3 documents, bookended by the 2 affidavits. That's important, bookended by them. That you've got the 2 affidavits, and everything in between is basically litigation. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. We're basically saying that we're here. We sent you a document on this date. There's been no legal response. We're going to give you another 7 days. In the interests of candor, and we repeat the same here, and it's the exact same document as you sent last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing changed. We've got nothing more to add. Week 3 is the same as week 3.
Yeah.
Just got the previous date, 2 dates in there.
Yeah.
That's
why I was saying that you guys need to pay attention to the date, because it's your also records of, okay, so I did this, and I did that on those dates, and yeah.
Due diligence, yeah. Keep a good record of what you've sent, when you've sent it, and that's it. Easy.
Yeah.
And again, same document as week 1 and week 2 below. Exactly the same. Nothing changed. So that then takes us into week 4, which is the opportunity to resolve.
So they after the 3rd week, they've then entered into the agreement then.
Yeah.
That they are committing fraud by misrepresentation, malfeasance, and acts of terrorism.
Correct.
Because they've not disagreed with it.
Absolutely. While ever there's no disagreement, there's an agreement, and that's that. Nothing can stop that unless they disagree, which they haven't and they can't. So we go on to say, if there's a crime to be redressed, then it's important to comprehend the full extent of the crime before a solution or remedy can be executed. He's already been instrumental in the remedy because he provided material evidence. And the material evidence which he provided was, first of all, his silence. He'll just not deny, fucking admits, yeah, by default.
Yeah.
Another legal maxim for you. So yeah, we just go on to let him know. We're letting him know what he's agreed to. Again, there's that transparency. In the interest of candor and clarity, yeah, we're letting him know what he's agreeing to. He's got one final opportunity to resolve this matter.
And there is in the chat there the quality of being open and honest. Well, why wouldn't we be? Because we got nothing to hide here.
Yeah.
They've made the claim of being a government, so we're just saying, how are you a government? Why? Where is the evidence of this? So we got nothing to hide in these documents.
Absolutely, I think people get scared of these liens and they don't really read them, and it's like anything else. It's telling a story. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. There always is.
Yeah, I think some people get worried about, certainly sending the affidavit off and putting their name on these things, or the legal embodiment. But we got nothing to hide here whatsoever.
And we stand by what we have in our court of record. I mean, if you cannot stand by the words that you are writing there, it's your creation. Yeah. Don't even bother. I mean, every time I read my creations, I feel empowered. I feel proud of myself. I don't know. It's wow.
Absolutely. I mean, just reading them. I'm just reading these words. It's a maxim of the rule of law that he or she who brings the claim has an obligation to provide the material substance of that claim. Otherwise, the claim is fraudulent in nature, which is fraud by misrepresentation and malfeasance in the office.
Yeah.
In addition to this, an act of force where there is no material evidence of substance to the claim is also an act of force and an act of terrorism. Just read those words.
Yeah.
And these maxims, they're all used in their courts. You can look them all up. So some of them are worded slightly differently, but
these maxims go beyond the courts. So yeah, the maxims were around fucking long before court.
Yeah.
That's why we go back to them. Again, maxims. There's no legal agreement to the maxims, but when you read the maxims, they're supposed to.
There is no way you can go around it or bring a presumption or a probability, because she's so boom. It's like the sky is up and the rain is wet. Every time I read maxims, I'm just like, wow. It's done, pure, simple. There is nothing here that is hidden. It's just like, ooh. Every workman is worth of his hire. Boom, done, simple. Yeah, there's nothing more to it. And I feel like every time you like with this acts and statutes and legislation and all of that, every time you put too much wording in it, that's where the obfuscation starts to be generated. Like different meanings. Like, I mean, what can you not understand that every workman is worth of his hire? I mean, it's done. Like an affidavit. It's the truth in commerce. I mean, wow. Yes. Imagine if all of us. I mean, sometimes I wonder, and I'm a very, I like to wonder, but every time I read those things, I'm just like, wow, imagine if we all were able to function with affidavits, it's my word, so it's there, it's formal, it's written. I cannot go back on my word, So it has to be. I think that's where everything got lost. It's because, and that's why we don't. Most of us don't stick to our words. Like we are not faithful to our word because it's a knowledge that was that was taken from us. You can say many things, or you can have like you can say one thing today and you can say another thing or do another thing tomorrow. So I think that one of the things that the Liens brings back for someone that is constantly reading and creating, it starts to create that responsibility and that honorability that is lost. Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, absolutely. And once it's lost, and it takes a couple of generations for it to be lost,
Yeah.
then all they need then from that point on is presumption. And that's all it's ever been, presumption. Because even going back, Carla, so there's never been a government in 800 years. There's been a claim to government, but there's never been a legal government. But going beyond that, there was a kingdom. The kingdom was still a fucking company. Yeah, it's like the woman in the red dress.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the woman in the dress. Well, give him something else to look at. It's the same fucking shit show.
True.
So, but in all the time, again, I keep looking. In all the time, I've never seen people en masse putting the facts in the public domain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing.
And this time is us.
Exactly, mate.
Yeah, individually. So it's not his story anymore. His story. No, it's my story.
My story.
My story. Yeah.
So again, it's all about being open and honest in these documents, right? We would further note that there can be no legal representation without the legal transfer of power of attorney. Yeah. And this is all definitive and absolute proof and fact that a general election by way of a secret ballot has always been illegal and does not constitute any legal transfer of a power of authority in any way, and never can.
Yeah.
An X in a box is a secret ballot.
So I tell people, you go on site, do a risk assessment, stick an X where they want your signature. Are they going to accept that?
Yeah, true.
Are they bollocks?
Because they can.
No,
Yeah.
they want somebody liable.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody has to be liable. They're not having an X in a box. If there's an X in a box, you're off the fucking site, mate.
Yeah.
You know it. I know it, mate. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So again, this is an opportunity to resolve the matter. So we've already got tacit agreement from the first 3 weeks. So now we're giving him one more opportunity. Yeah. And again, we're formally asking him 1 and 2. 3, 1, 2, and 3 is here's what will happen again. Here's what will happen if you don't resolve this matter. We're telling him it's a very serious crime. Yeah, we're saying it's a very serious crime with cumulative period incarceration of over 30 years for malfeasance, and misrepresentation. But we would not wish to encumber the public purse for the cost of this incarceration, as the public purse can ill afford the financial encumbrance. There is, however, an alternative and recognised process as suitable remedy. And so we're reminding him, as there is now an agreement between the parties by way of lasting tacit agreement through acquiescence, as you have already agreed to the crime, then we elect to charge you under this agreement. As the crime was committed against ourselves, then we reserve the right to choose the remedy for these crimes. Where there is a crime, then there is a requirement for a remedy. Otherwise, crime goes unresolved. As we now have an obligation to bring this crime to resolution, we therefore are giving Mr. Shitface an opportunity to resolve the matter. So here's his opportunity. 5 million English pounds. 15 million in total, so it's 5 million for each offence. Misrepresentation is the first offence, malfeasance the second offence, and then the third is the willful and belligerent act of terrorism. Again, 5 million. Why 5 million? Well, why not a fucking 100 million?
Yeah.
Why not a fucking 100 zillion? It's a nominal figure, right? Let's not get lost in why it's 5 million. It's 5 million pounds worth of confidence, faith, and belief. Yeah. And this is what we're going to tell him. If you don't elect to resolve the matter in the next 7 days, then we'll issue a further reminder that you're in default to the agreement that you have now agreed. So he's agreed that he's got an obligation. That's important. Yeah. There's not just an agreement in place, there's an agreement with an obligation. If you don't produce this material, we will take further legal action by raising a default by a surety by way of a lien. So we've given him two options there. We've given him the option to pay up like a good little fucking citizen, or we give him the chance to create a security by way of lien. Yeah, that's his second option. And that goes against the estate of Mr. Shitface and the future earnings of yourself, and by way of the sins of the father to your descendants to the 7th generation, where there may be an attachment of earnings and the pension of your grandchildren's grandchildren. Again, I'm going to mention that because that gets mentioned a lot, Carl, and I don't know if it does to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did he put that in? Well, because he could, and it's in their fucking Bible.
Yeah.
And their Bible is at the centre of everything they fucking do.
Mm.
So why wouldn't you put it in?
Yeah.
You've got the
we in the Portuguese liens, we remove that part because they don't use the Bible in their shit show.
Okay.
And that one doesn't apply. They don't have that. So yeah, we decided it was better to remove it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just so you know, most maxims come from Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
If you're using maxims, you're using Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Look, that's why that's in that question comes up a lot. So I thought that was important to get in there. Why did he put that in? Well, because he could. He didn't create that 7th generation. Yeah. He didn't just invent that.
No. Yeah. It's true. And especially in the Arabic countries, they do follow that one.
Absolutely.
They follow that one to the letter. I mean, strictly. Yeah. Really strictly. And again, it's not the Bible, it's another one, the another history. Yeah. We have plenty. You can choose one of them.
Yeah. Again, in that
instance, fairy tales written by I don't know who.
Woman in the fucking blue dress in that case, isn't it?
True to that. Oh my god.
So yeah, look, again, honesty and openness in these documents. Yeah, let's read the words. This may be viewed as an excessive action to take as a remedy, but we bring your attention back to the affidavit, Exhibit F. Nobody gets paid. So Is this an excessive action where there is no monetary value, no injury, no loss, or harm can be caused by the action? This is just numbers of no commercial significance, as there cannot be commerce without money. And there is no such thing as money, so there is no such thing as economics. Yeah.
Yeah, we have Andy. Scott, where it says sins of father. Yeah, it's father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is, Andy.
Eagle eye. Well, listen, it might say that, right? But that's been agreed now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah, that's what I think as well. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. Whoever agreed to this motherfucker words that we are using, you know what? Take it.
Take it. Yeah. So again, it is not our intent to place you, Mr. Shitface, in a state of distress or cause any distress, loss, or harm by this legal action. So let us face the facts. See Exhibit F in the affidavit. There is no such thing as money. The banknote is based upon confidence, faith, and belief. It's a concept in the abstract with no material substance. Yeah?
True.
It could be said that to take this action is to destabilize the economy. What economy? There is no fucking money.
It's all just an illusion.
It's an illusion. Yeah.
And it's about these words, isn't it? It's about the words. Like, people go, oh, 15 million, when are they going to give me? It's about the words, like understanding these words.
15 million pounds. What does that mean? Well, here it goes. It's confidence, faith, and belief. So it's 15 million pounds of the confidence, faith, and belief.
Yeah. Even if you question that, you can open your wallet, and if you still have that faith and belief, you can look at it. It says there, promise to pay the bearer on demand.
That's the Bank of England note. That's a Bank of England note to you, isn't it? Mm. So when are they going to give us that?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just hilarious when you start knowing the facts and realizing the shit show that we are in. You just start laughing. I know that people that are getting into it, it might be scary, it might be confusing, but just give it a time, keep reading. Like Barry David Wood used to say, just read, and repetition, because that's how we, the monkeys, learn. So yeah, just repetition, and after a while you will be laughing as well, because you will understand that all of this is just like, what the fuck.
But yeah, what the illusion does is it doesn't put us on a level playing field.
Yeah.
A form of payment is Scott comes and does a day for me in his time, and I go and do a day of my time for him. That's a fair, transfer of energy.
Yeah. João is saying errors and omission except. No, it should be no errors and omissions. So if you guys want to touch that one.
Okay, let's pick up on that then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no errors and omissions accepted. So usually what they write is errors and omissions accepted. Yeah. And by writing errors and omissions accepted and leaving out the no, what you're basically saying is everything that's written above is bollocks. I take no responsibility for it whatsoever. There could be errors, omissions, but I'm not taking responsibility for them. So you're not taking responsibility for anything. And by writing just that one word, no errors and omissions accepted, right? So if there are errors and omissions, you're accepting them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So you're liable for all the words in it. And by removing that one word, no, You're removing all liability for anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he's saying he forgot the no.
No, it should have been there. He put it there. Normally it's written like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's normally written. Errors and omissions accepted. David Ward added that word no, and he changed the whole meaning of it. Yeah, by putting that word in, he took full liability for all the words in the document. By removing that word, you're not taking liability for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what if you remove the no and it just says errors and omissions accepted? Well, you're saying that there could be errors and omissions. We'll accept them as errors and omissions. So there could be errors and omissions all over it, but you're discounting them.
Yeah.
So putting that no in, you're taking liability for it. We've got to operate in private and start taking liability for our actions, words, and deeds, and stop hiding behind companies. Yeah, by hiding behind companies, it allows them to fucking create any rules that they want.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just another layer. It didn't have to do that, but the attention to detail. No, I want that word there. I know there are some people that still won't put it there. Fine, as long as you understand what it means.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it render the document useless? No. But you need to understand what it means, that's all. Do you know what I mean? And once you understand what it means, right, okay, no errors and omissions accepted. So if there are any errors, I'm going to jail. Yeah, basically. If there are any errors and omissions, I'm going to jail. So yeah, important that bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Where were we up to? We were up to the end, really, weren't we? So yeah, again, he asks these questions at the bottom, which I quite like.
Yeah, I like those too. Yeah.
We did ask ourselves, are we committing fraud? Our response to this was, well, is there full disclosure? Which there has been. Yeah, throughout this whole 6-week process, there's been full disclosure on our behalf. Is there an agreement between the parties as a result of that full disclosure? Yes. Has there been any injury, harm, or loss? No. Well, then there can't be any fraud.
Yeah.
Beautiful. How are we destabilising government? Well, this is a good one because I struggled with this. I mean, we're giving government an out, really, by creating that cash. Think about this. By creating that extra cash, eventually they'll tax it 85%. So it benefits everybody, really. It gives them a reason to keep creating cash. So ultimately, there's been no wrongdoing. And again, we're going to give them another 7 days to agree to this.
Yeah.
Into that one.
Yeah. 7 days later.
So again, we're just formalising everything. Yeah, we're following through on the actions of the legal embodiment. First 3 letters, that creates the agreement, the tacit agreement. We can use that agreement to create a charge. help create a charge. We then use that charge to create. We create a charge, but we give them another 7 days. Say, hey, you've agreed to what we said. You can resolve it by paying this amount, or we can raise the security by way of lien. And this is the result of that. We give them a notice, and it's the only notice that we use.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a summary of what's just happened. Yeah, a legal agreement by acquiescence on that specific date. The opportunity to resolve on that specific date. It's a notice that you're in default of your obligations under the above written legal agreement by acquiescence. And we declare that you're in default. So there can be no confusion. This notice is lawfully executed as of the above date. If, however, you may remedy it by way of commercial instruments within the next 7 days, the notice of default will be no notice of default will be entered. So basically, how can he pay us? He can pay us with a promissory note.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've asked him for £15 million worth, so that's cash currency. Yes, currency. Great British pound currency. So when we think currency, we think money. Well, it's not money. It's currency. It's bonds, pledges, liens, notes. Yeah. Promises to pay. So that's an easy week actually. It's a one.
Or he can because this is through a lien. He can give us one of his mansions, and we will hold the the deed for that in the value of the 50 million. Yeah, we accept everything. I mean, at this stage, we are very I mean, man, we accept everything if you want to.
Yeah.
If you still think that you own anything, yeah, go ahead. We can play that one too.
Yeah, it's funny because when you do read these documents, Carla, you never see the word payment or money.
Yeah.
It's words like that, look, commercial instrument, yeah. Settlement, I think we use.
Yeah.
But it's never payment. You can't, because nothing can ever be paid for.
Yeah, because everything is in the paper. It's paper. Yeah.
How can you pay for something with a promise? No fucking sense, does it?
Yeah. And how can you think that you own a house? I mean, if after you read the affidavit, you don't grasp this, I mean, what else? How can someone explain that to you? Because this is where I see most people having like they get stuck because in my house, my car, my this and that. Man, you don't own anything. Forget it.
It's just a claim to something.
Yeah.
You know, my claim to this house is that I live here and no one else lives there. Yeah. And no one else disputes that they live here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it, mate. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So
there, Domingos, he put a Portuguese comment here, which is like can you translate this for English, man? That would be very helpful. I don't know how to say. Well, but it's like a saying in Portugal, which they use it a lot. I mean, this is like a cultural thing, you know. It's like almost, oh yeah, you know, like an excuse for everything. So they say like I don't know, the robber. Yeah, I know it's a saying, but can you translate it to English? That would be helpful. It's like the robber that steals the robber has 7 years. Oh, here it is. Yeah, let me see if you guys can see it. Know where it is. Thief that robs the thief has 7 years of pardon. Yeah.
Thief that robs the thief. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think this was created to implement on the subconscious of the Portuguese people that it's okay, fraud is okay, stealing, as long as you don't murder anyone, it's fine, it's good. You will have 7 years of pardon.
Yeah, well, that's what fucking all empires are built on, mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Piracy mostly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
mate.
exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll only ever win it on paper. I know that. You'll never win it. You'll never win it fucking fighting on streets. It just will never ever happen. It needs to be a fucking avalanche of people on the fucking page holding them to account in their offices, serving fucking papers on them constantly.
And if everyone stopped paying, that's it, done.
That's the main thing, mate.
Everyone does it from their armchair in the warm. Go on the banking app, cancel that payment, done.
Well, for a start, let's put this into context. Every time we use banknotes to pay for what we believe is a bill, we're actually committing fraud.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pay for something with a fucking promise.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fraud. Once you know that, it's fraud. So yeah, this idea of paying for things, you teach yourself about, understand what money is, what is money, what is it? Yeah, it certainly isn't what we've got.
You know, if you know that these people are committing fraud, and by carrying on paying them, you're complicit then, because you're funding it.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're funding them to commit fraud, and you're funding them to commit acts of terrorism on people, because you know they're not a legal government.
Yeah. Beautifully. But I tell you what, have you had a fucking wisdom pill tonight, you Darren?
I think so.
And the last Monday we could barely hear him because it was echoing all the time. But this time he's like, "Ooh, you guys can hear me, so I'm gonna give it to you."
I'll tell you what then, Darren. You finish us off, yeah. So we've got to week 5 here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll be up to week 6 then.
And it would include notifications at this stage as well, mate.
Yeah.
Go on, mate. You.
So yeah. This is the first. This is the letter 6 first, and your affidavit. Just again stating the facts and giving full disclosure to everything. And swearing on those facts, taking an oath that everything is correct, honest, and true, which it is. And yeah, that's the affidavit for Mr. Scott Herbert, and the last affidavit is David Ward's one, which is all based off first-hand knowledge. You scroll down a little bit, and this is basically just bringing the 6-week process together. In it, this is kind of just
explaining. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, mate. It's basically a statement explaining the last 5 weeks that you're of sound mind.
Yeah.
So again, this oath, this has been brought up to me. It's not an oath. We take an oath, but it's not an oath. An affidavit is taken under penalty of perjury.
Yeah.
Yeah, and full commercial liability.
Liability. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not an oath as such. We swear an oath to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're willing to stand under it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're willing to do.
Those exact words, every single one of them in that paper.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why most of the times I say to people, if you don't know what to say and you have your work and your creation, just stick to what you've written. And that's it. Don't say anything else. No need. It's all there. Start reading.
Yeah.
Because those are your works. That is your creation. You had the courage to start this process and stand under those words.
And those, just go up a little bit, Scott. The eternal unchained principles of truth are as follows, and that's
Yeah.
such an important one. All are equal and free by natural descent.
Yeah.
And this is the point of this process, because we're all equal. So why have we got men and women taking everything off some people when we are all equal and we're all free, because nobody owns this earth we walk. We've got an equal share to everything. And how can we not have an equal share to everything when we're all equal and free by natural descent? But yeah, those are just, principles that people need to start living by.
Yeah. And start thinking about them, like, why do we have a legislator? Why do we have this and that? Why do we have, where is all this concept? And start breaking those concepts as you go, and this one is a good one to start building that mentality, like, if we are all equal by natural descent. So, I mean, there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
I mean, all of them go to B. So another unchanged principle: truth is factual and not subject to belief, which is nothing of material, physical, or tangible substance in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a deep one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. These you can't skim over these. You've got to take these inside, and absolutely, they're huge, Carl, because they can have massive ramifications on how we live our lives.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever look at any of their court paperwork, at the end it will say something like, all the above we believe to be true.
Yeah.
Well, either it's true or it's not true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you just believe in the truth, you back the belief, and what they're saying is, well, I don't fucking know. And if we get pulled up on it, you just go, well, I thought it was true. I believed it.
Yeah, I believed. Yeah.
When this is saying you know the truth and you know what truth is.
Yeah.
And you're saying this is the truth.
And if I'm wrong, please provide me the material evidence that is going to prove me wrong. Otherwise, move out of the way.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, looking through them, Carla. All matters must be expressed to be resolved. An unrebutted affidavit is the documented fact and truth on and for the record.
Mm-hmm.
He who does not rebut the affidavit agrees to it by default.
Yeah.
And there it is. Look, what is a security by way of lien? A security by way of lien is, first and foremost, an agreement between the parties.
Yeah.
As there is no disagreement between the parties.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's what a lien is. Yeah.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
So yeah, we've got it on and for the record that they are committing acts of terrorism, and that's why people need to read these and do them themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and get your
to
own.
Feel the power. Yeah. That one, I like it particularly as well. And I feel like there is most people don't understand what really means what is really written in there. So I think if you guys want to go through that one.
Well, it's non-judicial and prejudicial, right? So what that means in essence, it means that there's no need for a court because there's an agreement. So there's no need for any judiciary to get involved.
A referee.
Don't need a referee. There's an agreement. By default, there's an agreement.
And you've given them fair chance to put their, to put their evidence forward.
So this is where it becomes our court of record. Yeah, there's no need for a judicial review or any judicial action because we've created this ourselves to the point where there's no disagreement. So yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
And as that surety is undertaken by agreement without coercion, duress, or protest. We haven't forced them. We haven't threatened them.
Yeah.
We haven't said, do this or we're going to send the heavies round.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna, steal your car. Steal this, that, and the other.
Yeah, send the bailiffs to your house.
Yeah.
Or the dog handlers.
Yeah. Because it's not honourable, is it? Like, if you've got an issue with someone, you owe me this, right? Well, we'll sort it out ourselves. And what they do is, you owe money to the council. Well, the council doesn't exist anywhere. So, do you know what I mean? Who do I owe this money to?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we get to the to this stage, and what we are doing is compiling the 6 weeks into a very factual, and I find it simple. Perhaps now I find it simple, but I think it's very to the point, and it helps a lot to get an idea of what happened through the previous weeks and what is going to be established now that this week is over. So yeah.
So yeah, that's why we've got the 2 affidavits, one at the front, one at the back. The middle bit is the litigation, the agreements, the obligations, the terms and conditions, and it's all wrapped up with 2 affidavits, which is nice and neat, really.
And obviously this first one is basically saying that what you're about to read through the rest of the document is true.
Yeah,
and that's why it needs an affidavit at the beginning.
Absolutely. And this is the agreement.
Yeah.
The formal agreement.
Yeah, and here we already put surety and security by way of an agreed lien, because that's what they agreed in the week 4.
Yeah, by this point it's over. He's already agreed. We're just presenting it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's agreed. These are the 3 offences. Again, this is important, I think. Because really, that's what it comes down to, really. Traditions of the land. Yeah, it's almost an obligation in itself to publish it. And that securitizes it because it's now published. Yeah. So that's your part done after that point. And again, it just goes on to reiterate what is agreed to. Yeah, ignorance is no defence for criminal acts. Is he a trusted and fit and proper person to still be in service in office? I mean, is he?
Well, they could step down after week 1, couldn't they?
Absolutely, mate. They've got the opportunity.
Yeah. So ignorance can't be any defence because you've made them aware of what they're doing, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, so we go on. We just it's almost like a closing statement, really, from a judge, if you like. Yeah, this is what's been agreed. These are the obligations. We're just setting out everything that the House of Herbert and Mr. Shitface in his office has agreed, and that is agreed by his own free will to stand as a surety by way of a lien to the amount of 15 million Great British pounds. Again, we go on here just to let him know that it's only confidence, faith, and belief. And that's the end of the lien.
Then you got where's your notifications to then?
I'm not sure.
Are they before or after your affidavit?
I might have added
No,
them.
I think there are before.
I may well have added them separately,
Oh yeah, I think yeah, probably.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but it's important to talk about them, Carla.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I think people already got an idea of what is. So the best thing that you need to do is download one lien and go through it and see, take notes. And I think I don't know if you guys want to do another one so we can go to a more complex lien, like to help people identify claims and all of that.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so in that one we could go in and go through the notification list as well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, all this info is in the groups on Facebook. It's everywhere. I mean, we've been spreading this like.
And you've got a lien work group on Telegram, haven't you?
Yeah.
And we got a lien messenger group, and we do 2 Zooms a week, just helping people through them and looking through documents and that. So there's plenty of help available, and on the Facebook groups, there's loads of help available.
Exactly. So basically, I think that we touch a good amount of topics today. We went through this. I think this lien is very important and is the one that everyone should be starting. Yeah. What do you say, Scott? Well, what do you say, Darren? Scott? Scott is eating or doing something that I'm not doing because he's doing everything and I'm not doing that.
They're the most important liens, aren't they? Because it all begins there. From there you've got, councils, bailiffs, judges. It all starts from there, where you've got your agreements to say, well, the head bosses, they don't have any authority, so you're underneath them, so how can you?
I can hear you, Scott.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
It's just because I want to and I cannot do it, so okay. This is an eternal conversation, guys. So yeah.
Yeah, for a second I lost touch with all reality on my computer. Sorry.
Yeah, I think overall it was good, guys. Do you want to leave any comments? And we can wrap this one out because it's 2 hours already and 20 minutes past. So if you want to say anything to Scott and Darren, just leave your comments on the comment section. And I will invite you guys to come to it and do another one, please. And yeah, at least we have this all sorted, and yeah, that we deal with him. Yeah. Next Monday.
It's good to get it down, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Do you know, in a video? So, what about this? What about this? Go and watch this video. It's only 2 hours long. Yeah, they're not ridiculous for. Do you know what I mean? It's just 2 hours. Go and look at it. You can fast forward it to where you need to be, and yeah, it's self-explanatory for those that can't bother to read, basically.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, look, that's probably a bit harsh. It depends on your level of understanding of what really is going on, and your level of willingness to let go.
Yeah,
that's ultimately what you're going to have to learn to do. Let go. Yeah, because it's all holding us back. It's all going to go. It's all going to go. If you want change, people want change. I thought you wanted change. Right, well, fucking make change happen.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah. I don't want people to get bogged down in the lien and to be too scared of it. Break it down into sections. It's a 3-week section with an extra 2 weeks and then a week to wrap everything up. So, yeah, the most of the wording's there, Carla. Yeah. The most important thing is trying to make sense of it and understand the process of what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. Where does the charge come from? How can you charge something without a charge? Well, here's the charge. It's from the false claim. Right, okay. Because I couldn't get that in my head, Carla, for quite some time. Yeah, but David, you keep telling me, right, that we can't put charges against people. But how the fuck are you charging them?
Yeah.
The claim, you dickhead, keep fucking reading. So you keep reading until...
You know what? That one used to, I used to stay really pissed off, you know, because I wanted him to explain to me, and the only answer I would get from him is keep reading. I'm like, why don't you tell me, you know? But then I know what he meant by keep reading. And I noticed that people get offended, really. Oh, they keep telling us to keep reading. I mean, but none of us can give you the achievement of you, like, breaking those blocks in your brain. Only you can do that. Having those moments of you know, only you can have them, you know. So it's important that people keep reading.
Yeah, well, I get a better understanding every time I read this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing it for quite some time now. So, you know, there's so much there to take in and comprehend that you do need to just keep reading.
Yeah, and repetition, man. Repetition. Yeah. I notice now that repetition is key, you know.
Yeah.
And it's something that it never leaves you, stays with you. Like, I remember that the first time I was reading Liens, I was really getting annoyed by, Mr. Shitface in the position of, I know he's in that position. Why the hell do I keep reading this? But now I cannot write anything that it's not in that way. You know?
Yeah, same, yeah.
Because I don't want to leave anything to
it's just thorough, isn't it? It's just being thorough.
No, it's you. I'm going after you. You are my bone, and I will not let go. I'm sorry, you know. Yeah.
In their letters, it will always say you.
Yeah.
Who the fuck you?
Who the fuck is you?
I'm not you. I'm me. So
Yeah,
who is you?
exactly. Or the legal occupier. What
Yeah,
the fuck is that?
who made that
You know?
shit up?
I don't know. Oh, you were summoned
Yeah,
to the court. Oh, good luck to him then. You go there. They are calling you. I mean, it's just hilarious.
yeah.
We get to this point where we go like, what is it? Looking at self-employed jobs the other day, and Marstons are hiring enforcement officers paying 40 to 90K a year. Oh, that's good. Good for them then.
Yeah.
It's because they already suspect that more people will start to wake up and smelling the coffee.
If they're needing more, it just means that more people are getting these fines and these alleged debts.
Yeah,
And they're just forecasting that, oh, we've got a 10% rise in the councils giving out green air zone fines.
yeah.
So that equates to X amount, but people ain't going to pay it because they can't.
Mm-mm.
They've got nothing. They'll have nothing to give them.
Yeah, and maybe that's what the people again. I think that perhaps that's what people need to start waking up and see. Hang on a minute, there is something that is maybe that's what they need. Maybe that's the trigger, and that's and if that's the case, it's good because you will start doing something, and you can always come and watch these videos.
Yeah.
You will learn how to empower yourself and know that you always had the power. Yeah, like it was a movie with this one. I think it was the Wizard of Oz, the with the red shoes where
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
always have the power. You always had the power. And
yeah.
now when I look at that, I'm like, motherfuckers. Yeah, now I know I have the power. Okie dokie. Okay, guys. So there is no more questions. Everybody in the chat, say thank you to Scott and Darren. Come on, put those comments in so I can show them in the live. And Scott and Darren. So I see you guys next Monday then.
Yeah, definitely.
Lots of love, Carla.
What?
Lots and lots of love.
For you too. And I don't know who is Crafty Studios. Cheers, big ears.
Cheers, big ears.
Okay.
Cheers, big ears.
Thank you all for joining the live, and join us again if you want on the next Monday. Cheers. Thanks, guys and gal, from our lovely Mia. And we have João Martinho in an island, another island. Big cheers. Okay. So, we will have Liens part 2 on the next Monday, guys. Join in. And that's all for now. And Scott and Darren, I love you. And I leave you now.
See you next time.
Bye-bye, guys.